What's up, guys? It is that Pan again. I'm here again with another video, and I contemplated doing a video on this because I don't think it's like a big deal, and obviously the changes haven't been implemented, but I did think that this was game related and worth kind of noting and doing a video on, and this kind of concerns the potential updates for the next raid event, right? The next island event, and man, honestly, I think the devs like I'm all for giving them criticism, right? Like I'm all for giving them hate, but sometimes I feel like they get a little bit too much hate, right? Like this event, I understood that people were upset. Like I was upset myself, right? Like I obviously was expecting way more than I got, but I do think that the devs kind of get way more criticism like than needed sometimes. Like in this case, right? Like I do think that this was a new event. I think Island probably had its tweaks that were needed to be made. Like for example, they didn't have territory protection. I get zeroed the first island. I'm not even going to talk about that, but I got zeroed and I was on territory and all that type of stuff. And there were also tweaks, like for example, after Island, when bases were on territory, they could be zeroed because it was after Island. And that was also when they implemented like the territory thing, because the thing is, people would zero them after Island and they would lose their troops permanently. I actually did this to a group like before, right? So I'm not innocent, but you could do this, and it was kind of ruthless. It was kind of ruthless, and they would basically lose their troops permanently since Island had already ended. I mean, obviously you would too, but they probably would have lost more if you're willing to just swarm bases down. That being said, I do think like obviously this event could have used tweaks and stuff, and I do think that you gotta give the devs time, right? Like an event fresh out the like bucket like this, you gotta expect there to be flaws. Like no matter what, honestly, I like hating on them sometimes. Okay, um, I do think like like I said, some of the criticism is very fair, but I do think that you kind of got to be fair with them and be like, yeah, this is a new event, so they don't deserve all the hate. I'm sorry for meat writing them so long. This is like 2 minutes in. We're gonna talk about it now, but yeah, I literally been meat writing them so long. Okay, so the first raid has come to a close and have received feedback. And basically the feedback is basically them talking about, what the changes are they want to implement. So the raid map is too big and the squads take too long to get to battles. And this isn't even like the problem I have. Like getting to battles is yeah, but it's more so getting to these mobs, right, that you gotta kill and stuff, and that makes it so annoying. And I mean, the raid map being big is also a pain because of how many more towers that you probably have to expend just to reach points. But yeah, we reduce the size of the map. We plan to reduce the size of the map and adjust the times when checkpoints and treasure cities are available. This will reduce the travel time and improve the pacing of battles for this event. They say they plan to change the time when the checkpoints and cities are available. So I will say, like, we have a mod chat, right? And something that one of the mods kind of presented was possibly already having full territory within the safe zone, right? Like all the territory, assume it's like a big helipad or a ton of flags, for example, right? And the checkpoints are maybe open right off the bat, and this is possibly going to be the case, or maybe they'll give it like a countdown for like an hour, etc. But basically the checkpoints will be kind of opened earlier. So let's say the checkpoints are early, maybe like an hour before it opens or whatever after reset. Well, maybe you instantly build out right after that. That checkpoint opens. Maybe they want to give people time to kind of get situated, poured in, all that kind of stuff. But that is pretty nice, and hopefully this will pace battles like they said kind of better. Since I think one of the hardest parts is sorry, I'm like stumbling in my words. It's kind of like having to wait for these like things to open up, and you're having to wait for like a full day after reaching it, and you're like, man, like what the heck? Number two, the difference between Legion and Faction and the rules for faction allocation are too complicated. I definitely agree there. I think like it's way too complicated and they should have been more straightforward with how the ruling was. New Raid is designed to offer commanders a diverse combat experience employing various strategies. However, we also acknowledge that introducing too many rules can make things hard to grasp. We will continue to optimize and the explanations and presentation of the rules to assist commanders in devising suitable strategies in battle. I don't even like this because I would have wished they would have been like, all right, we'll either remove factions completely or we'll make these kind of an option, right? If you want to join a certain faction, because I hate how they force you to be on one faction. That's like the worst part. Not only that, just having to play with an enemy, right, is so annoying. Like if you were just fighting people, especially if there's just a lot of grudges there, then you're not going to be willing to work together, and you kind of get screwed over because people are willing to sabotage each other. There are discrepancy in the watchtower limit due to legions having a different number of alliances. We will consider adopting a dynamic balancing approach to ensure that different legions on the map have a similar alliance watchtower limit. For example, alliances and legions with fewer alliances will have increased watchtower limits. So that is pretty nice, them kind of balancing out, because this was a pretty big thing that I noticed. Some groups could have been screwed over because every group is maybe given the option for, let's say, 60 towers, right? And not only is that a problem, you also have the issue of let's say you have 5 alliances in one legion, you have 3 alliances in another legion. Not only is building those towers, you have less towers kind of spread between the alliances. You got to understand, the more towers you build, the more expensive it gets. So for that one alliance to max out their 60 towers is extremely expensive. So if that alliance wants to build, let's say, 20 towers, right? But we have okay, so let's say it's just one alliance building 20 towers, and you have a legion with maybe 4 alliances all building 5 towers. Think of how price on those towers is very different. So even then, you have an advantage in building and the cost of building there. So yeah, so you'll probably be able to get further in a shorter amount of time. The mission in Phase 2 requires capturing treasure cities of the other factions. It's too difficult and lacks strategic depth. I don't think it's the worst, but I think the biggest issue is there's that obviously if you're in one or the other 2 legions on one or the other side of the map, it's basically impossible for you to make a play on them without just getting through the middle checkpoints, right? And whereas if you're maybe one of these side legions, right? I think it's what are the colors? Red and it's either I think it's red and blue. But if you're one of those legions on the top or bottom side of the map, you can maybe be more diverse on what side you're going, what checkpoints you're taking, instead of directly only being allowed up the mid. And that can also kind of be used to the advantage of your allies. The outpost of Alliance building materials is too low, and it takes too much time and effort to transport them. We don't want commanders to worry about the lack of building materials during intense battles. We plan to increase ways of obtaining Alliance building materials, such as the ability to produce them after capturing a level 6 watchtower. I don't really care for this that much. I find it a little bit stupid. Just give us the donation method back at this point. You know what I mean? If that's the only way they're only method they're gonna be adding, I just feel kind of man, honestly, the thumbs downs is very valid here. The improvements mentioned, blah blah. I mean, honestly, I think the rest of this is somewhat good. Some of these I do think there should be some tweaks about. Even the Legion thing in itself is flawed, right? I think Legions in itself are flawed, because if you have Legion that has it out for you or something, they can literally destroy their towers and screw you over. So if you don't trust them, you can't trust them, you know what I mean? And you're forced to maybe build all 60 of your towers, kind of just maybe being the core and all that kind of stuff. Just overall, it's it's a scuff situation, I do hope you guys enjoyed either way. You guys have a great day or night. That's really it to the video. I just wanted to talk a bit about the updates. But yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video, and that is it. Peace out.